Mornings have a rhythm. You can hear it, feel it. And at Quaker, we fuel it. With 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber in every bowl, helping you turn that rhythm into your soundtrack for a great day. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go! Let's
go! Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
Welcome to the Susan LoPresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul podcast. This podcast is designed for women who are ready to heal, rejuvenate, and truly thrive in every stage of life. I'm your host, Susan LoPresti. My guest today is Dr. Deb Butler, a certified master weight loss and life coach who also taught at the Life Coach School. Prior to coaching, she spent 30 years as a board-certified chiropractor, nutritionist, and acupuncturist. She is also the host of the podcast, Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. Dr. Deb spent decades struggling with weight and yo-yo dieting. After her last diet at the age of 50, she freed herself from the diet culture and developed a program to help other women do the same. Her approach teaches women, especially those navigating menopause, to shift the way they think about food and their bodies. So this can truly be the last time they ever have to lose weight. One of the biggest challenges during menopause is heightened emotions, which can easily be mistaken for hunger. Dr. Deb shows women how to recognize the signals their bodies are sending so they eat only when they're hungry and stop when they're full. Without relying on diets or external rules, her Thinner Peace process empowers women to live a life where diets no longer control them, boundaries are respected, and lasting weight and life transformation is possible. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Deb to our podcast today. Dr. Deb, thank you so much for joining us here today. I am super excited about this conversation with you.
As I am too, Susan, I love talking about anything I can do to help women who are going through menopause and having a much better take on menopause. And this is a really good point to learn to love and accept yourself. And I don't mean that lightly. I think we hear that a lot, but I think this is the time when you really want to learn how to do it if you haven't learned it up until now.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Because you have an extensive background in chiropractic care,
That's
also
right.
nutrition, acupuncture, and coaching. So what led you ultimately to focus on weight loss and mindset for women in menopause?
That's like the best question, right? It's $100. What happened? Because I practiced chiropractic with my husband. We had our own practice for about 35 years. And there were some wonderful things about it that I loved. And I really enjoyed the helping people with the natural aspect of getting better. But what I found over time as I was doing it is that I found I liked talking to people more than I wanted to work on their bodies anymore.
Okay.
And what I found after working on thousands of bodies is that I could tell people what to do. I could adjust their spine and balance it perfectly. But depending on what was going on in their minds was what was going to happen in their life mind, body, and life. Much more so than me adjusting them. It's what they took with it in their head. And I wanted to be a bigger influence on their heads and what was stopping them from doing the things they wanted to be doing, or I told them to do, or they read they should do. What was in the way of that? And that's where coaching came in. And it also came in because it was at that time for myself in my 50s where I was going through menopause. I had been a lifetime Weight Watcher member for most of my life, and I considered that a cure for my weight problem. However, the way that I used it is that I counted points when I needed to lose weight. And when my weight was off, and we're talking 20 to 30 pounds, so many times during my lifetime that it ended up that I probably lost 250 pounds in my lifetime of gaining and losing weight. And around that 55-year mark, when I went to Weight Watchers to do my points, because when I wasn't doing points, then I was up to all my old shenanigans. And I call it that because I was a chiropractor. I knew the right foods to eat, as to most people that I work with. They know what to do. I knew what to do. But I was using food in a way that was helping me feel better. And I didn't even look at that because as long as I could control my weight in what I considered a healthy fashion, it was acceptable. And when I got into menopause and the weight wasn't coming off with the usual point system, and I realized that menopause is what is going on in my body, do I really want to gain and lose 20 or 30 pounds again for the next 30 years? Because that's what was going to happen. That was my future. All of a sudden, it was like, why am I doing this to my body? And if it's going to be a very slow process of weight loss, it's not going to be like, oh, I've gained weight. I'm just going to not eat for 3 days and lose 10 pounds. That was how it was in the early years. And I know it's how for a lot of women that I worked with,
Yeah.
they could get their weight off fast, then they can go and do whatever they want, then they get their weight off fast. But when you start hitting this middle mark, that your body won't work like that anymore. And I believe it was a blessing for me, and I believe it's a blessing for everybody that's listening to this if they're anything like I was, because you don't want to be on a weight roller coaster. You want to be comfortable with food and you want to eat the same way all the time. That's what I decided at this point. It's like, how come I only eat this way when I have to lose weight and I eat a totally different way when I don't have to lose weight?
Right.
And so what I finally figured out is that it was a head problem for me too. And when I started getting into coaching, I met a weight coach, and her first question that she asked the people that were in this retreat was, why do you eat when you're not hungry? That was her big question. Why do you eat when you're not hungry? Now, all I really wanted to know was what can I do to get this weight off and what's going on in menopause that I can't lose this weight? It doesn't matter to me why I eat when I'm not hungry, and I never even thought about it. But once I started thinking about why do I eat when I'm not hungry and why do so many people eat when they're not hungry, and do you even know that you're not hungry when you're eating? See, because I think we eat for so many reasons and we don't pay enough attention to this mind body connection that we don't realize that we're not physically hungry. There's another component of hunger, which is what I dealt with my whole life. Weight Watchers didn't take care of that. Weight Watchers helped me lose weight because I could do anything for a short period of time. But what was I doing with all of those emotions? And when I couldn't lose weight like I wanted to, and may I add that during this time, I was telling you, I don't know if I even want to be a chiropractor anymore. This 55-year mark, this menopause, it's very much our brains, they're actually more malleable than ever before. And I think for a lot of us, the big question is who are we and what do we want to do? And I believe my weight issue got into this whole thing of who am I and what do I want to do? Because if I was eating because I wasn't satisfied in my practice and drinking and going out and having a nice party, I couldn't even connect to the frustration and disappointment that I was having in my practice. It would have been very difficult for me to change because I wouldn't have known I had a problem. I just thought I had a weight problem. But actually, I had a mind problem and I wanted to go in a new direction. And if I could not feel any of those emotions, I could never go in a new direction. And once I started eating when I was hungry and stopping when I was full and learning why I was eating when I was not hungry, not only did I help figure out how to stay the same weight all the time, but I learned that I didn't want to be a chiropractor anymore and started making the changes to start working with the mind and become a life coach, which is where I am now 20 years later.
Wow.
And
So
it is so exciting.
yes, but how do you get to the point where you finally realize this is the reason why I'm eating when I'm not hungry? Like, how do you get to that point? How do you learn that?
I think it's a great question. And because I was working with a life coach who
Oh,
was working with weight, and I was starting to recognize, see, because if that question wasn't posed to me, I wouldn't have known.
right,
I would have just said, I got to stop. I can't drink anymore. Or I can't eat anymore. Or I can't eat bread anymore. Or I can't do this anymore because I have to lose weight. I didn't have to lose weight half as much as I had to figure out what was going on in my emotions so I could change what I was doing. So
right.
if I was just working on losing weight, I would have never figured that out. But because somebody made me aware of it, I started looking at it. So for everybody that's listening to this right now, the first thing I want you to do when you're finished listening to us is just pay attention to your eating and your stopping for the day. When do you eat? When do you stop? Are you hungry? Are you full? And I'm starting with that, and hopefully, we'll get into really what is hunger and really what is fullness. It's a little bit more involved than that, but just there's probably some people right now that know I don't eat when I'm not hungry. They already know it. And then
Yeah.
there's going to be people who think they do. There's going to be people who are listening to think they can't stop eating. There's going to be people that are listening that say, I'm hungry all the time. There's a lot of things going on connected to a number on the scale. And most of us just don't want extra weight because we live in a society that means something that's not worthy about us. When truly it means there's something going in our minds that we're just not willing to look at. It's easier to solve a weight problem than it is to solve a head problem. Does that
And
make
do
sense?
you feel that most of women's weight problems is connected in some way emotionally?
Most, yes.
Yes.
I would say that there's very few people that I have met that seriously can eat when they're hungry and stop when they're full and don't eat for any other reasons. And I also think that you can be at a weight that you want because I work with people that don't have to lose weight, but
Uh-huh.
still have a very big issue with food. They're not at peace with it and they're scared of it and they're scared of gaining weight. There are so many things going on around this weight thing that have so much to do with the mental activity. Would I say all of it? Probably not. Would I say most of it? I probably would.
Wow. Do you think that social media has made it worse for women because you go on social media and you see all these beautiful people, beautiful women, beautiful bodies working out? Does that take a toll on someone's emotional state if they're struggling with weight?
I would say that there's a lot of research out there that says that about anybody's mental state and social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say it affects it. Just in the olden days when we were just looking at magazines or
Yeah.
whatever, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. So it's like there's that, and then there's how you view yourself and how easily can you be shaken.
So someone like your story, you'd gain, you'd lose, you'd gain,
Yeah.
you'd lose. What kind of an effect does that have on your body physically? Does it create some sort of problem with you to physically to keep gaining and losing like that?
I would say probably it does. I don't think that we know exactly what it does, but I think the main problem that what it does is that it makes it very difficult for your body to stay at a certain weight. It just makes it difficult. There's a lot about set points. And when your body is constantly going from one weight to another, your body has such a magnificent system of knowing what to do. And when we get involved and mess it up, it doesn't know what it needs to do anymore because I think our bodies are smarter than our minds will ever be. And when we really can listen to our bodies, just starting with the simple fact of, do you know when you're hungry and do you know when you're full? Our body is giving us so many messages. And I think by the time that we hit midlife, we need to listen better. We need to understand better of what the messages are and can we do what our bodies are telling us to do. For instance, I work with a lot of women and I call them pushers. And what a pusher is, it's somebody who keeps trying to do one more thing and one more thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have things that go on in your body that tell you you can't do anymore. I'm done for the day. Please put me down in a chair. Please rest me. Please calm me down. Please feed me. Please take care of this pain. There's a lot of little messages going on, but we can push through all of that. And I call ourselves pushers because we're achievers and we're trying to get a lot of things done, but we're also not listening to our body any more than when our body says, please feed me. We just ignore those signals and then we wonder why we have a weight problem. We're just not listening. And
Why are
I
we
think
not listening?
because we don't have to.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. For instance, for me, I'm coming home. I've had a big day. I have a Trader Joe's out here. I don't know. You have a Trader Joe's by you? All right.
Yes.
I'm driving by there. My body is basically saying, oh, thank goodness we're going home. I can't wait to rest my body for a little bit. And I see Trader Joe's, and my mind says, oh my gosh, we need this, we need that. Hey, let's just stop by real quick and we'll just get a few things. It sounds like it's no big deal.
Right.
But if we keep pushing through those little signals, they're little signals. They can turn into big signals because let's face it, if you're in the emergency room, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
There's nothing going to push you to say, "Oh, just one more thing." You're done. So, our bodies have such a high tolerance of what it can do, and if we keep pushing it, we just end up in a place where we can't do anymore. But I would say it's a really good time to stop that nonsense. And it starts with if you can rest your body when it needs rest, can you feed your body when it needs food? Simple little things that say so much about managing your weight.
Right.
But if you're a pusher, you're pushing through hunger, you're pushing through pain, you're pushing through being tired, you're not getting enough rest, you're thinking you can do one more thing, somebody else needs something from you, you're a people pleaser, so therefore you can't say no. If any of this resonates with people who are listening to this, these are all the things that are worth looking at so that you can take better care of yourself and therefore really be more available to anything else that you want in your life.
Yeah. But I feel like women are raised in a way that you should be doing. And if you're looking at yourself and taking care of yourself, you're selfish because you're supposed to be taking care of everybody else. Women from when we're little babies, we have our baby dolls and we're taking care of them. And then it just continues as we grow, right? We get married, we're taking care of our husband, then we're taking care of our children, then we're taking care of our aging parents. And it's when do we take care of ourselves?
So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
I totally agree that it is the way of society and it is the way. I think it's changing. I really do think it's changing
I
over time.
hope
When I
so.
see my grandkids and the way they're being raised, it is a little bit different. But certainly, a lot of us were raised to believe that what we need isn't as important as what other people need. And yet, this 50-year mark, this menopause mark, I think is this realization that comes about. And I think a lot of it has to do with the transitioning of the way our hormones are working in our body, where it really becomes, what about me? What are my needs? What do I need? And so that the things that I'm talking about at this point are more attractive to women at this age because they're wondering what the heck is going on. I think we sit and follow the blueprint from adolescence to about 50. And then all of a sudden is what is going on here?
Yeah.
And
Everything
I'm
changes.
addressing that.
Yes. Everything changes when you hit 50, I believe.
I think things change in terms of life that
Yes.
for many women, those who have chosen to have children or who have families, and that's not everybody, but it really doesn't even matter. We are on a certain trajectory to a certain point, and it is more about caring for other people. And I also think as women, we have a lot of oxytocin hormonally in our body, and we are wired to do that. That's why I think we make great doctors. Probably, if you ask me, women probably make better doctors. But I think it's because of the way that we're wired. But if we're raised properly or if we get the signal, we start learning that in order to do that, we need to do self care first. We need to feed ourselves with good food. We need to make sure that we're getting rest so that we can do what we're wired to do, which is also care for other people.
Yeah.
So you can care from a full well or you can have an empty well.
Empty.
And I think as we hit menopause, there's a lot of people with empty wells looking around, wondering what's going on, looking at their bodies, thinking there's something wrong with them because there's more weight than they want. And they think they just can't control themselves around food. They think food is the problem. Food is not the problem. The mind and what it's telling you has some false beliefs in it that need to be changed and questioned
Wow.
at this time. It's like perfect timing. It's wow, how could this design be so perfect? Because we're ready. If we have kids, they're starting to leave.
Yes.
For a lot of women, if they've been married, they're leaving or
Yeah.
they're working on their relationships and they're making them different. This is the time for change. And all the energy that we used for raising little ones, we don't need that energy anymore. They're out. So all that energy now is going to be put into what's out there, what's next. We're ready. We're
Yeah.
ready. And we want to use food in a way that's going to help us do that and not be the enemy.
So, what are some of the biggest myths about weight loss that women in midlife need to unlearn?
I would say one of the biggest things is because I hear this from a lot of women. They feel like if they're hungry, that's a good sign. They shouldn't feed it. They should be hungry because that's a way to lose weight.
Oh,
I mean, it's really in these concepts that I see. Another concept is that a myth is that when you're socially out with other people, that you need to be doing what they're doing. So if somebody else is eating appetizers and eating whatever, you should be partaking and doing the same thing. Like looking at other people and thinking if you do what you want to do and you don't do what the group is doing, you think they're going to be looking at you. See, because we're always looking out, we're not looking in.
yeah.
I wonder what they think
Yes.
about us. So we use food in a way that we're using it to compare ourselves. Oh, look at over here. I can't believe, look how thin they are. And they just ate a piece of cake. How did they do that? I'm amazed at how many women are more interested in what other people are eating.
So, what do you say to a woman who has that misconception?
What I like to say is we start with the idea of watching yourself so that you can start understanding what's going on for you first. So I start with this physical hunger scale, and I'm going through it a little bit just because in order to understand what you do outside of you, you have to first understand what you're going to do inside of you. So I start with the physical hunger scale that goes from a -10 to a +10. And then it's like just a graph. And a -10 is starving, and a +10 is stuffed. And I'm recommending that we eat between the twos so that we start eating at a -2. And you realize if a -2 and it goes all the way to a -10, you can get a lot hungrier. So a lot of people don't want to eat at a -2. They would rather eat at a -7. So they first start finding out what are their numbers. When do they like to eat? And then the same thing with fullness. I recommend we stop at a +2, which is a whisper of fullness, even though it goes all the way up to a +10. And or anybody that's listening, you can eat a lot more. Your stomach is a muscle, it can stretch.
Yeah.
So you can eat more if you want. And depending on what you've been doing will depend on what you do in any instance. So first you have to find out, what are your numbers? When do you eat and when do you stop? So that then the next step is to realize if a +2 is the time to stop and you get it and you can feel it and you're satisfied with that, then you realize if you're out to eat with a bunch of people and you know you're at a +2, you know it's time to stop, and you're seeing all this other going on and they're still eating and you're done, what should you do? Then you start seeing what goes on in your mind. Can you stop? Or does your mind say, what will they think of me? It's amazing how much we look outside for what people are thinking of us instead of what are we thinking of ourselves. Like, would it be easy to stop at a +2 if you weren't concerned about other people? So it
And
could be, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, I'm sorry. I'm sure those other people are not thinking about what you're
I am
eating.
sure those other people are thinking about themselves. I'm pretty
Right.
sure. I know. And when we go through these coaching sessions, this is the awareness that starts coming about is you're thinking they're thinking about you, but I guarantee you they're thinking about themselves just like you're thinking about yourself.
Right.
So if you want to be more connected to your body, you have a wonderful opportunity to find out what's in the way of stopping at a +2. For some people, it may be the food is so good and I paid so much money, I have to keep eating it. I can't leave it, which is another mistaken thought process. You don't have to eat, even if you paid for it, even if there's food on the plate. You don't have to eat it. You paid for it. You can do what you want with the food. And you don't have to put it in your stomach if you're not hungry, because that's more wasting it than if you put it in your stomach.
You could take it home and have another
You could
meal the
take it
next day.
home. You could have another meal the next day. You can do whatever you want with the food, is what
Yes.
I'm saying. And all these things that I'm talking about, many people are not aware they're running around up there. They just think I can't control myself around food. But really the truth is I'm not aware of the thoughts that are going around in my head, and I can't control those. Which is
Yeah.
really, in some ways, it calms you down and realize, because when I'm coaching people, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I have a system for people understanding what's going on in their heads, what is really driving them to eat. It's usually not the food itself.
Yeah.
It's usually less about the food and more about why they're doing it. And the self-exploring that can be done at this time not only opens up your mind to why do you eat when you're not hungry, but it opens up to your mind to why aren't you doing what you want to be doing? Because it's all of a sudden you're really starting. When I'm coaching people, I'm not as concerned with them losing weight as I am with them opening up their minds and being able to live the life that they want to live by finding out, why do they eat when they're not hungry?
Do you see a pattern of the same thing, why someone's eating when they're not hungry? Is there a pattern to that?
Yeah. If you are fairly peaceful with food, then all you have to do is look at your thought processes. Because whatever it is that's going on with you, if you feel pretty peaceful around food, is probably what I'm teaching somebody else.
Okay.
And I would say that there are patterns.
Yeah.
For sure. That's why I just brought up like social patterns. Like a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, I'm fine during the week." Usually fine means I can follow a diet and stay on it. Because I think what I learned after being a Weight Watcher is that I was very dependent on something external to tell me what to do with my body. I needed somebody to tell me, when is it time for me to stop? So I had a point system. That's the point system. When the
Right.
points are done, you have to stop eating. And I was learning to rely on that. And when I really started figuring this whole thing out, the scariest thing for me was to throw my Weight Watcher card away. Because this was at a time when we had cards and we actually went in and we
Yeah.
got weighed. And that card that I had, I kept for 12 months after I was doing this, just in case. And I think that's so interesting because it sounds like I'm self-aware, right? And at the same time, there's no way I was throwing that thing out. And when I
Yeah.
did, it was almost like a celebration with me because it was like I felt like I got it. But it's a very scary thing to depend on yourself when you never have. And that's what diets do overall, is it's something external that you're depending on to tell you what to do because you don't think you can do it yourself. That's why many women think they can't control themselves around food, because they think they can't do it. But of course you can. Anybody can do it because we're wired to do it.
Right.
We're wired to eat when we're hungry. We're wired to stop when we're full. We have a system in our body that's backed up with hormones and everything else to do it for us. And if we're not doing it or can't do it, it's only because we trained our brain to believe that we eat when we're sad. We eat when we're happy. And so when our brain is happy, it triggers us to eat. It's called emotional eating.
Right.
We eat because we're emotionally hungry, not physically hungry. And being able to separate physical hunger and emotional hunger is so helpful for women to actually do. Because a lot of people will say, I'm an emotional eater. But I like for them to be able to see it specifically, what is actually going on, what is their brain actually telling them to do, and then can we question the brain? See, like we call it being like the observer or being objective. If somebody says, last night I just got a phone call and I was so sad, and so I ate some cookies. And they're real mad at themselves for doing that because they know they shouldn't do it. And they're really mad. But what I say to them, number one, is you first have to have such self compassion for yourself because your brain is trained that when it triggers sadness, it triggers eating as a way of protection. It's been taught to do that. And that you can train it to do something else because the training is actually, can I feel sadness without falling apart? Can I feel a negative emotion without losing it? And let's face it, would you rather have a chocolate chip cookie or feel something that's negative? If you're trained, the cookie is going to sound better.
Of
And
course.
so you don't get mad at yourself as long you're trained to do this and it's helped. You think it's helped. And until you can do something in a compassionate way, oh, sweetheart, there's another way. It's not going to be as easy. It was easy. We are wired, if we're sad, if we have emotions, that they're there for a reason and we can feel them and they can tell us what we need to do. If we, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so what would you tell a woman?
Yeah.
This is your example. She gets a phone call. It's an
Yep.
upsetting phone call. She wants to reach for that cookie.
Yep.
What is the healthier option that she could do at that moment that's going to make her feel good, but
Gonna
not
make her feel good. It's not going to make her feel good. So she's not going to be able to find something that's going to make her feel good because she
okay?
doesn't feel good. So that's what I'm saying is sometimes we have to let ourselves feel bad.
Feel the real feels. Gotcha.
Feel the feels, feel the feel them and
Yeah.
train ourselves to feel them because
Yeah.
we've trained ourselves to stay away from them. We've trained ourselves to resist them. We trained ourselves that something terrible might happen if we go there. But usually what I've learned over the years with the women that I've worked with is that they feel better from feeling bad. It's like a bad feeling will go through your body, and when it's done, there will be relief.
Gotcha.
And if you don't do that, it stays stuck.
Yes.
It could be there for a long time. But when you let yourself feel it, it comes and it goes. Some experts say 90 seconds.
Wow.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man, an 8-episode series, now streaming on Disney+.
A superhero remake, not exactly what we'd expect from an Oscar-winning director.
Action! Simon Williams, audition for Wonder Man.
I'm gonna need you to sign this, assuming you don't have superpowers.
I'll never work again if anyone found out.
My lips are sealed.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man. All 8 episodes now streaming, only on Disney+.
90
That's
seconds.
easy. Anyone could survive 90 seconds.
If you think that it wouldn't kill you, because what the brain is going to tell you, this will kill you.
Yeah.
That's really what's going on, is this is dangerous.
Yeah.
This is really dangerous. So I do a lot of work with women and just feeling, going through a coaching session and feeling something. I go, look what you just felt. You just did it.
Right.
You get a little braver about it so that when you're by yourself and some feeling comes up, you think you might be able to feel that too. And like one of the things that I do, I have this jumpstart guide that I use with my podcast, Inner Peace and Menopause. And the jumpstart guide is a way of helping people start to journal their food. And I'm not concerned about journaling food to see what you're eating.
Right.
I want you to journal your numbers when you eat. How hungry were you? How full were you? And notice when what pops up is there's no hunger and you want to eat. So that you could ponder for a minute, even if you end up eating. Because a lot of times you could end up eating, but even if you give it that pause to know, this is sadness, this is what I'm feeling. Just to have that pause is enough to give your brain a break. Even if you end up eating it, it's still a step in the right direction.
Yeah. I noticed that boredom will also be a trigger for eating. I have nothing else to do right now. Let me just graze on some whatever is in the refrigerator.
That's right. Any of these emotions,
Yes.
boredom is a big one, but boredom is also something that you can feel. This is what boredom feels like. Just because you're feeling boredom doesn't mean anything is wrong or that you even have to do anything. You just have to feel it because it makes you feel jittery. And so, like, your brain's going, if we have to do something, eating would be a good thing. Eating actually wouldn't be a good thing because it doesn't do anything because you start talking back to your brain when you start seeing what it's doing. It's like, how is this going to help me feel less bored? I'll be eating a cookie instead of thinking and feeling my boredom. And how is that going to help? How's that going to help your boredom? And sometimes boredom is there for a very good reason. I would say I had a lot of that going on when I was making my transition into coaching. There was boredom. And if I kept eating it, I wouldn't move on. So it's like our emotions are there to help us and also to help us move in the direction that we want to go. And if we're eating whatever it is we're eating, when those emotions are there, it's stopping us, it's helping us stay stuck.
Yeah. So most of this is emotional awareness that we need to really pay attention to our thoughts and why we're doing or sabotaging ourselves by eating because we're either sad, we're lonely, we're bored. All of these feelings is what's bringing up this urge to be eating something and filling ourselves.
Yes. And when you bring up urges, I'm glad you brought that up because I do a lot with urges. Because urges, I consider an emotion just like sadness, just like boredom.
Right.
And an urge is just this urgent desire inside your body to do something urgently. You know, it could be going shopping, it could be all kinds of things, but we're talking about eating. So, what causes an urge is also just a thought. So we think, like we keep talking about cookies, but we think a cookie causes an urge. But a cookie is just the object that our mind plays with. So our mind says something like, oh, I love cookies. And as soon as the mind says, oh, I love cookies, it's not the cookie, it's what the mind is saying about the cookie that's creating this urgent desire to put it in the mouth. And when I'm working with women, and this is part of this jumpstart guide that I use where you can measure it, is that you can measure how strong an urge is because urges are negative emotions and they have the same kind of scale as a hunger scale. So they go from a 0 to a -10. So a -10 is going to be the worst emotion you could feel in your body. The 0 is neutral. So when we see a cookie and you have this urgent desire, you have a moment in time to think about how strong is it? Is it a -10 or is it a -2? Is it a real light urge? And when you can notice these lighter urges that you don't give into, then you can start noticing that you can handle urges. You're just not noticing that you're having them.
Right.
So that all of a sudden you realize sometimes I can walk by a cookie and I can just walk by because the urge is very light. But sometimes I walk by a cookie, maybe something is going on and the urge is very strong. So I have people start with the weaker urges first. And I'm recommending for anybody that's listening to this that once you start thinking about, if you get this Jumpstart guide, which you can get by going to Peace with Deb, and you start measuring not only your physical hunger, but these emotions, then it becomes more about what's going on inside, what you're feeling, and less about what's out here. So is it the cookie, or is it what's going on in the brain that's causing an emotion in the body that's making you want to do something?
Yeah.
And then you start going, then I have more control than I think, because now you start seeing what's actually going on, as opposed to I just don't have any control. Actually, you have a lot once you have the awareness of what actually is going on. The cookie isn't calling you. Cookies don't talk. But your brain is talking to you all the time, and you're not even aware what it's saying to you.
Yeah.
And that is the whole premise behind the Thinner Peace process. And Thinner Peace, which is the name that I gave it, is that thinner is nice, but being at peace
is better.
And thinner peace, being at peace with anything.
Yeah.
Really being able to create more peace in your life by noticing what's causing you not to have it. It's not out here. It's just in your head.
Yeah.
And that's what inspired me to go into coaching.
Yeah, no, I love this. I was thinking that many women, they struggle with negative self-talk.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All the time. No one's ever praising themselves. They're always looking at everything that's wrong with them. And how can they begin to shift that inner dialogue? Like, how do you do that? Because we're so ingrained with all the negative self-talk.
Our brains are wired for negativity. It's just the way we're wired, and it's a way to protect us.
Okay.
From thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. It's just the way it is, right? And so, knowing that, I teach a concept called self-compassion. So, most people know what compassion is, but most compassionate for other people.
Yes.
So, women are wonderful, compassionate people for other people. But when it comes to themselves, which is called self-compassion, that's what you're talking about. It needs to be taught. And the easiest way to teach it, because see, we already are wired to do it. That's what we've been talking about. If it's our child, if it's anybody outside of us that's hurt or hurting, compassionate out the gazoo, like we know what to do. But when it's us hurting, what's the matter with you? And it's a little bit of wiring, and then it's a little bit of rewiring, which means that all you have to do is do what you would do for somebody else. That's all you have. It's not that revolutionary. How do we do that? When you notice that you're hurting, you're nice. You say something to you. What would I do if this were my daughter? What would I do if this were my client? I am so compassionate with my clients, right? And it's like, what would I do with somebody on the street that was hurting? I would stop. I would say, are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help you? Why wouldn't I do that for myself? And why wouldn't you? You start today. You start recognizing when you're suffering. And you realize that when you're suffering, you need the same thing that you would give somebody else, which is your own self-compassion. And I love to say you start by calling yourself sweetheart. Sweetheart, what's wrong?
Oh, I love that.
What do you need? Sweetheart. It's like it's calming.
Yes.
And that you say to yourself, this is suffering. How can I help you? Or it's okay. It's okay. You're going to be okay. A lot of times we know we are going to be okay.
Yeah.
And just to know that when you start wanting to come down on yourself, you can stop it. And you don't stop it by yelling at yourself for being mean to yourself.
Yeah.
You stop it by going, you just realize, I know you're trying to help me. We've been trained to do this. but what can I do right now that'll make you feel better? And sometimes just the act of this is just what suffering feels like. And it's okay. It's okay. You do it with a little kid. As soon as you just put your hand on them or you hug them, say it'll be okay. They calm down.
Yes.
And that's
It's so
exactly.
simple, too. The way you're saying it, the way you're telling us about that, it makes perfect sense. But how many women don't feel comfortable saying, it's okay, sweetheart, you're going to be okay, and talking to themselves about it? You
That's
have
right,
to get
because
comfortable.
you have to be taught.
Yes.
You have to be taught that being nice to yourself is a nice thing. If you think being nice to other people is a nice thing, you've been taught that, right? That's all we've been talking about is we've been taught to do all that.
Yes.
But we haven't been taught to be nice to ourselves. Why? Because the people that raised us didn't know any more than what we know. But once we know, it'll get passed on. So self-compassion, Kristen Neff is the woman that coined the phrase. And she wrote a book called Self-Compassion, and it's probably 15 years old now. But she was the one, she did her dissertation on self-compassion, what it is, how to do it, a whole book.
Oh.
Like, we need the book.
Yeah.
We need lessons because it's not something that has been taught. And it's been hurtful not to have learned it because it's hurting us. There are times when we make a mistake, when we fail. We don't need any more suffering. We don't need somebody else to come in and yell at us more. We're already suffering. It's already painful. We want to be calmed down. We want to feel better. And the best person that can do that for us is us.
Yeah.
There's no prince coming on a white horse to save you.
You have to save yourself.
You have to save yourself. And you start by just noticing your own suffering and help yourself feel better, sweetheart. And maybe you're not comfortable with sweetheart. That's like what I've used. And a lot of person that listen to my podcast start copying me. They'll repeat it.
Yeah.
But it's like whatever phrase you can use for yourself, it's nice. Anything that's nice. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anything that you would say to somebody else that's nice, use it on yourself. And when you notice if it's hard for you to do it, just notice how unfamiliar it is. It's just unfamiliar, so therefore it's hard. Your brain's not used to it. But you can train your brain. Our brains can be trained to do anything.
Yeah.
And everything, you know, when it comes to eating when you're not hungry, that's just a training of the brain. That's all it is. We've trained our brains to that when we feel bad or we're eating something and it's delicious, we've trained our brains to believe delicious means keep eating.
Yes.
Just because it's delicious doesn't mean you keep eating it. If your body is saying it's full, even if it's delicious, you still stop.
Yeah.
You know, something simple like that. But gosh, that was probably one of the biggest things for me because I had a thing with potato chips. I just thought they were so delicious. And whenever I thought about potato chips, I thought about how I could never stop eating them. And I proved it every time I ate them that I couldn't stop eating them. And I had to throw hot water on them. I had to destroy them before I put them in the garbage can, or else I'd go in the garbage can and eat them. Now, listen, you're talking to an educated woman who knows. And I know that there's so many people just like me that feel that feeling like if I don't destroy it, I'll go get it. Because we're not managing what our minds are telling us. We're not weak. Potato chips are not that good. They taste good. That's all. You are stronger than the potato chips, for God's sakes. But up until 55 years old, I thought the potato chips were stronger than I was. I totally believe they were. And there's a lot of people believing things out there about certain foods that it's time to unwire your brain about them and realize they are just potato chips. That's all they are.
Absolutely.
That's all they are. And you are a magnificent, spiritual human being that can do anything. Potato chips are just potato chips.
Struggling with weight loss? Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet is a clinically developed nutrition program designed to promote fat loss while protecting lean body mass. Developed at USC's Longevity Institute, it assists the body in entering a fasting-like state that helps reset metabolism and target visceral fat. In just 5 days, Prolon offers a science-backed approach to weight loss without extreme restriction or guesswork. Get 15% off plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe at prolonlife.com/now.
I think that's the message that we really need to implant in our brain and repeat it over and over again, is that we are capable of doing anything that we set our mind to.
Anything, but we have to know what our mind is setting out to do.
Yes.
And then we have to decide, do we want our mind to go that way? Otherwise, if you believe everything that goes on in your mind, you are going to do a lot of suffering. Because our minds tell us one lie after another.
I have another question.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone who feels disconnected from their body or frustrated with the changes that come along with aging? Because aging is, we're seeing the face, the body, things change.
Especially because I'm so much older than I was when I started this. So especially if you think weight is a problem, just get another 20 years on you and you're going to be thinking, if you can't handle your weight, you're not going to be able to handle aging. Really. And so it's one person I heard interviewed that I really liked, and it was a person that was diagnosed at a young age with a terminal illness that knew they weren't going to live much longer. And all they wished was that they could make it to a certain age, the age that we're all complaining about.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not until you're faced, like aging, okay, so there are things that happen to the body. But if you accept it as like this beautiful thing, which is not a society that we live in, so we're not being trained from out there to think this way. But if you really think about it, now that I'm in my 70s, like that I got to make it, I made it this far. I cannot believe it. Really, that I got the honor of making it in a healthy way.
Yes.
Going through health challenges and making it through them. It's like, where do you want to put your emphasis? And we live in a society that emphasizes aging in a way that makes you think you shouldn't get older. And yet, the only thing we know for sure is either we're going to die or get older. That's the only thing we know. And somebody out there is telling us, too bad for you. That's really basically what we're hearing. Too bad. As opposed to, lucky me. Lucky you. Look where I am right now. Look what I've gotten to do. Look at, I've made it. And my body, and I want to support my body in helping me continue this, which is why eating is very important, because it's one of the best support systems we have of getting older. It has nothing to do with gaining or losing weight. It has everything to do with getting older and being healthy. Yeah. Same thing like when I'm talking about like how much do you want to push yourself? Pushing yourself is not going to help you live longer. You need to listen. The older you get, the more you need to listen to what your body is telling you. You have to have a good relationship with it. You have to honor it. It is a relationship. And I think up until 50, you almost think you don't need it. It's like you can almost get away with anything. When I was in my 30s, the things I did, I should have been dead. If I did them now, I would be dead.
I know.
I would be. No doubt about it. But that's the way it goes.
Yes.
And so like when we get, I think the 50 mark is where we go, okay, I want to get serious here. And I think a lot of people want to get serious about losing weight because of the things that happen in the body. But I want to work with women who have not had a good relationship with their body up until 50. Because if you haven't had a good relationship up till 50, it's not going to get better.
Yeah.
So if you don't have it up until now, you got to do it.
Yeah.
And it will be a pleasure. It will be a pleasure compared to the way that you've been living. It will be a pleasure. And that is what you have to look forward to. You take care of your body, and then aging becomes a different thing. You take care of your mind, and aging will become a different thing. Because some of the research on aging has a lot to do with how you think about it, has a lot to do with how you go through it. Much more so than what you put in your mouth. It's what you think about it.
Yes.
And we are living in an age where people are telling us it's not a good thing. And then we're going, they must be right, so maybe I should think that. And that is what is going to hurt us. So we have to manage our minds. That is one thing I can say to everybody that's listening, is that the one thing we have control over is our minds. We cannot control other people. We cannot control life events, but we can control how we see them all the time. Our perception is under our control.
That is an excellent way to end this podcast. That message is phenomenal that everyone needs to hear.
I agree, and I remind myself about that all the time.
Yes.
And Marianne Williamson said it best. She said her definition of a miracle is a change in perception.
Yes.
And I see miracles all the time because that's all I do is help people change
Yes.
their perceptions. Their life pretty much stays the same, but their perception changes, and it's miraculous because everything looks different, including themselves.
Beautiful. Dr. Deb, thank you so much for being here today. This was such a powerful conversation. I'm sure a lot of women are going to get a lot out of this. I will put all of your information in the show notes. Thank you again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Susan LoPresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul. And a heartfelt thank you to Dr. Deb Butler for sharing her wisdom, her journey, and such a powerful message that true lasting transformation doesn't come from another diet. Thank you again for listening.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.